And so the governor entered into executive order 11.4 today. So that extends the health emergency to April 15th, 2022, allowing for fully virtual public meetings, essentially.
Is that an indefinite extension or is there an expiration?
April 15th.
And then we're back in person likely, or they need to re-enter the?
Yeah, unknown. Maybe
Okay.
Queen will know, but I don't know. I will let you know.
Okay. So we are streaming on YouTube. It looks like we have everybody with us. So
Yep.
Is there any objections? I would like to start the Board of Zoning Appeals public workshop and public hearing for Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. I want to welcome whoever's joining us on behalf of myself and our fellow board members. We have a full agenda tonight of 4 cases, although one of them may drop off. We'll see what the story is with that when we get into the public hearing agenda. But the first item we have is related to our public workshop. For those who are joining and are not familiar with this process, the cases before us are kind of reviewed in 2 stages. One is we have a public workshop, and that is an opportunity for us to review an application with staff and make sure that we're supplementing the application with any materials that may be missing. And we have the opportunity to ask some questions to make sure that when the applicant is presenting before us, we get a lot of great information and we can move the process along without unnecessary delay to the applicant or anyone that may be affected by the project. For that, we have public workshop agenda, just one case. It is project 00459. The address is 40 Hopewell Street. The applicant is Saxon Sign Company, and the application is for an area variance to allow a 9 square foot freestanding sign where the maximum permitted is 6 square feet. So with that, I will turn it over to Sam to walk us through the application and what has been included with the application. So thanks, Sam.
All right, thanks, Martin. This one's relatively straightforward. So they're proposing a 9 square foot freestanding sign at 40 Hopewell Street. It's zoned R1M. It's residential single family medium density. So the maximum allowed in a residential district would be 6 square feet. So this is at 40 Hopewell Street over off of New Scotland. It's the Mater Christi School. So this is a rendering of the proposed sign. And here's where it is on the property, kind of on that eastern corner where the red dot is. So there's kind of like this weird curve in the road there. And here's the part of the ordinance that's being, or that's in question right now, that's being cited. As you can see here, the residential districts, 6 square feet is the maximum allowed for a freestanding sign. So going through the criteria of what was submitted by the applicant, number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. And the applicant answered that the variance is consistent with the character of the surrounding neighborhood because the church/school has been part of the neighborhood for years. Criteria number 2, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. And the applicant responded that the size and layout being requested are necessary in order to ensure maximum readability from the road. As we saw, there's kind of that weird curve there, cars coming around the school. Number 3, whether the requested area variance is substantial. The applicant responded that the request is only for 3 more square feet than what's allowed by the USDO. Number 4, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. And the applicant responded that there would be no negative impact and that the sign will improve traffic safety. Number 5, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. The applicant responded that the need is self-created because the school basically needs to have some sort of identifying feature on that side of the building. So yeah, now I'll turn it back over to the board.
Before I ask my questions, I'll give my other colleagues an opportunity to ask theirs first.
Sam, do we know if there's a sign in that area currently?
I don't think there is. I know there is one. I kind of walk around there a lot, and there is one somewhere. I should have gone by it on my way home today, but yeah, I don't. On Street View, there isn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could we go back to the first test? Yeah, can you advance to the answer, please? So they talk about the school, but they don't talk about the sign. So I think what's necessary is they're requesting a variance for the sign, not the location of the school. So what the applicant should be doing here is talking about other signs in the neighborhood, whether the size signs are in characteristic with the neighborhood. So this question really has to speak to the sign and not the school.
Okay. And we do have the applicant here on the call. I know that for workshop, we, don't take comment, but
Right.
they are listening. So
That's wonderful. And we can certainly work through this application to make sure we're answering the questions that are part of the variance. So they're able to communicate their need to us adequately. But yeah, for this question, the variance that's being sought is a different sign than is required by law. So we want to make sure that they're addressing that part of the question, not related to the school itself. Can we go to the second question, please? Okay, so here we discuss alternatives to the sign, and they don't go into that. So either moving the sign closer to the road or having bigger text on the sign as opposed to a larger sign, or things that the applicant needs to be able to put into the application. If they're ensuring maximum readability from the road, I would wonder, is that being sought because there is a distance that they are estimating that's difficult to see the sign and it needs to be larger, or is it because of vehicle speeds? That it's really hard to tell what their argument is if they're just explaining why they believe the variance is necessary. They need to go into detail about the alternatives considered and why this is the minimum variance that they need to achieve the benefit.
Where can the sign be located? Like,
Yeah, relatedly, Sam, was there any information in the materials about the material of the sign? If there were any lighting elements, do we have a rendering of the sign like relative to its proposed location?
yeah, we have one. Let me, that was like the one slide that I had missed. I know that
Yeah, just because I think that, informs too, like the applicant's answer to number one, because if it's like a flashing neon sign, like obviously one could argue that that's to the detriment of more residential character neighborhood or.
yeah, no, I know that it's not internally lit. So yeah, that's something that I'll go through the file and have that ready. And
to be like a carved, I'll say carved for lack of a better term, a carved wood sign.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I'll get that for you guys then.
Could we go to that third item? Whether the application is substantial. So their answer doesn't relate to the substantiality. They're just providing what the difference is between the square footage. Mathematically, the departure could be considered substantial given that they're going from 6 to 9. So I think we need to have more of an argument from the applicant on why mathematically it's not substantial as opposed to the size of the sign that they're speaking to. And that can go again to neighborhood character and any comments they might be making about the size and scale of other signs in the neighborhood and its impact to adjacent properties. Do we have any other questions from board members? So I think we want to go back and make sure we're supplementing the application. So discussion about the sign are more related back to the variance review criteria. So specifically the alternatives considered, whether the applicant can be, the variance can be achieved through another mechanism, whether the variance is substantial, and whether there'll be an adverse impact are questions that the applicant should have or teased out when they go forward with the public hearing portion of this application.
Okay.
Have any other questions, comments, concerns from the board? That's wonderful. All right. Thanks, Sam, for that. Before we go into the public meeting session, I just want to convey that we're kind of transitioning to a different area of, not area, but a different portion of the meeting. This is the public hearing session. So what we will do is we'll give the applicant some time to discuss the application. We've heard the cases on the public hearing agenda before. So I would request if the applicants can stick to any potential changes or any information that they were not able to present at the prior hearings for these cases. That's really should be the forefront of whatever they're providing. When they have completed that opportunity to share anything new or provide a little bit of extra detail, we do have some folks that may wish to provide public comment on those cases. And then the applicant will have a portion of time to rebut to that. Again, I would request if there are public comments that folks keep in mind that we've had these for a period open before, and that we've been archiving public comments on the website. So for both of those cases, that would be ideal. And then board members will have the opportunity to ask any additional questions, and that we should have a smooth meeting from this point. So Sam, you want to walk us through basics for the, I'm going to go to agenda, different screen for area variances 79, 92, and 93, just to make sure we're all on the same page here.
Yep. So area variance 79 is a rehearing of an area variance allowing. So what this would do is it would allow for the construction of a deck in the public right of way. Area variance 79 would allow for front porch, a proposed deck to extend into the right of way. And then area variances 92 and 93 are both in regards to the form-based standards. So one would be construction of a front porch, and one would be construction past the front build to zone. So we have representative for the applicant here on the call, Chris Martell, who can help walk us through. So Chris, you should be able to talk.
Chris sent a message in the chat. He is calling in, so I believe we have one call in person And by process of elimination, I think that's the number that ends in 668.
Yep, so we should be all set.
I think you might still be muted. At least there's a red icon next to the phone.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry about that confusion. My microphone doesn't seem to be working. I think I've presented this several times, and I've had a lot of good dialogue with the board and answered a lot of questions and received feedback. If the board doesn't have any additional questions, I'm okay with resting with my prior presentations, but I'm certainly happy to walk anyone through this again.
Do we have any additional questions from the board before we open this case up for public comment?
None for me.
Yeah, I think we're very familiar with it. So anybody else? Okay.
My only question is, has anything changed, Chris, since we last met with you? Anything changed?
No, everything's still the same, and sales have pretty much maintained at the level that I discussed over the course of the last few meetings. So really no change at all.
Okay. Do we have anybody that would like to respond in the public comment period?
We didn't have anybody sign up, but if anybody would like to speak, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, looks like nobody.
So seeing that we've reviewed this case extensively, there's no new material, and to my apology, we weren't able to have a meeting last time around. I think it's appropriate for us to entertain some action on this one. Do we have any wishes of the board?
Yes, Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to modify the board's August 11th, 2021 decision, which conditionally granted the area variance number 79, conditioned upon the grant of common counsel of a revocable consent or easement in a form prescribed by or acceptable to the Corporation Council. Conditionally grant area variance 79, which has undergone proper seeker review, subject to the following 6 conditions. Number 1, Bridge Street roadway must remain 24 feet, in width. No reduction in width of the roadway is permitted. Number 2, the applicant must satisfy all requested comments and required modifications stated in the August 27th, 2021 Albany Fire Department and Albany Police Department Division of Traffic Engineering letters. Condition number 3, the applicant must reduce the length and width of the proposed deck and scale back the deck length on the eastern end to a length that complies with the vision clearance and public safety. Vision and public safety. I'm sorry, I lost my place. Vision clearance and public safety requirements set out under USDO section 3754069, and it is acceptable to the APD Division of Traffic Engineering to ensure that 1, there's no site difference for vehicles traveling westbound on Bridge Street from Mill Street or from the driveway between 1053 Broadway and 62 Mill Street. And 2, there are no sight distance concerns for pedestrians on the south side of Bridge Street to view oncoming eastbound vehicle and pedestrian traffic. Condition number 4, curb and sidewalk details shown on the plan must as such, the applicant must construct a sidewalk 5 feet in width on Bridge Street in accordance with 3754035A1, which requires that all development and redevelopment in the city have a sidewalk of at least 5 feet in width and shall be installed along each street frontage. Condition and exit locations per the building code, and the 2 entrance exit locations must be accessible And condition number 6, the applicant must consent or agreement city and for the applicant's use over any portion of the city right of way in a form acceptable to the Office of Corporation Counsel. And if the applicant obtains an easement from the city, such grant of municipal owned property must be approved by the common council of the city.
And that's, thank you. I just want to, I know that a motion is open so that it will have to be acted upon. I know that there were some technical difficulties, Jeff, when you were reading the conditions, and I just want to confirm with the board chair. Are these conditions also in the public record?
Yes, the conditions came from staff and they have been posted on the website as well. And many of them come from prior meeting discussions about things such as site distance and setbacks, access to certain elements of the building that has been requested by Albany Fire Department and Albany Police Department, and city communications in regards to design of the sidewalk. So the conditions as you see them now have been posted, but they are condensed from comments that have been part of the public record as this project has moved through the process.
Thank you. And in voting on this matter, again, I know the motion is open. The county planning board, as you all have known, recommended disapproval. So a supermajority is required if the board is to overrule the county planning board.
Thank you, council, for providing that information. We do have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Serena, I have you as a second. All in favor? Aye. Do we have any noes or abstentions? If so, please speak up so that way we're able to record that. I'm not hearing any noes or abstentions, so the motion carries. Do we have any wishes of the board in relation to area variance number 92?
Yes, Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to conditionally approve area variance number 92, subject to the following 6 conditions. Condition number 1, the Bridge Street roadway must remain 24 feet in width. No reduction in width of the roadway is permitted. Condition number 2, the applicant must satisfy all requested comments, required modifications stated in the August 27th, 2021 Albany Fire Department and Albany Police Department Division of Traffic Engineering letters. Condition number 3, the applicant must reduce the length and width of the proposed deck and scale back the deck length on the eastern end to a length that complies with the vision clearance and public safety requirements set out under USDO section 3754069 and is acceptable to the APD Division of Traffic Engineering to ensure that 1, there are no sight distance or sight line concerns for vehicles traveling westbound on Bridge Street from Mill Street or from the driveway between 1053 Broadway and 62 Mill Street. And 2, there are no sight distance concerns for pedestrians on the south side of Bridge Street to view oncoming eastbound vehicle and pedestrian traffic. Condition number 4, curb and sidewalk details shown on the plan must comply with city specifications. As such, the applicant must construct a sidewalk 5 feet in width on Bridge Street in accordance with USDO section 3754035A1, which requires that all development and redevelopment in the city have a sidewalk of at least 5 feet in width shall be installed along each street frontage. Condition number 5, the proposed deck must have 2 entrance exit locations per the building code, and the 2 entrance exit locations must be accessible to the sidewalk referenced in condition number 4. And condition number 6, the applicant must obtain an easement, license agreement, or other valid revocable consent or agreement from the city allowing for the applicant's use over any portion of the city right of way in a form acceptable to the Office of Corporation Counsel. And if the applicant obtains an easement from the city, such grant of municipal owned property must be approved by the Common Council of the City of Albany.
Thank you, Jeff, for providing the conditions again, similar conditions to the prior variance. I'll restate, we've had these conditions developed throughout the process with communications with different city departments. This document combines them into one easy place for accessibility. Do we have any, do we have a second on the motion? I should remind you, I'm thinking through this process. What else we talked about before we have a second? This would again override the county planning board's decision that was issued previously.
Recommendation, not decision.
Recommendation. I'm sorry,
Chair.
decision.
Thank you.
Yeah, recommended. They make recommendations. They don't make decisions. That's our job. Thank you. Do we have a second for the motion?
A second.
We do have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any noes or abstentions? If so, please say so we can make sure we complete the record. Hearing none, the motion passes. Do we have any other wishes of the board in regards to area variance number 93?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to conditionally approve area variance 93, subject to the following 6 conditions. Condition number 1, the Bridge Street roadway must remain 24 feet in width. No reduction in width of the roadway is permitted. Condition number 2, the applicant must satisfy all requested comments, required modifications stated in the August 27th, 2021 Albany Fire Department and Albany Police Department Division of Traffic Engineering letters. Condition number 3, the applicant must reduce the length and width of the proposed deck and scale back the deck length on the eastern end to a length that complies with the vision clearance and public safety requirements set out under USDO section 375-406-9 and is acceptable to the APD Division of Traffic Engineering to ensure that 1, there are no sight distance or sightline concerns for vehicles traveling westbound on Bridge Street from Mill Street or from the driveway between 1053 Broadway and 62 Mill Street. And 2, there are no sight distance concerns for pedestrian on the south side of Bridge Street to view oncoming eastbound vehicle and pedestrian traffic. Condition number 4, curb and sidewalk details shown on the plan must comply with city specifications. As such, the applicant must construct a sidewalk 5 feet in width on Bridge Street in accordance with USDO section 375-403-5AI, which requires that all development and redevelopment in the city have a sidewalk of at least 5 feet in width shall be installed along each street frontage. Condition number 5, the proposed deck must have 2 entrance/exit locations per the building code, and the 2 entrance/exit locations must be accessible to the sidewalk referenced in condition number 4. Condition number 6, the applicant must obtain an easement, license agreement, or other valid revocable consent or agreement from the city allowing for the applicant's use of any portion of the city right-of-way in a form acceptable to the Office of Corporation Counsel. And if the applicant obtains an easement from the city, such grant of municipal owned property must be approved by the Common Council of the City of Albany.
Thank you, Adriana. I will also reiterate that these comments are a collection of comments that have been received or developed by various city departments in review of this application over the last course of several months. They are being provided here in a format that makes it very easy to read the comments all in the same place. And also this is overriding a recommendation of the county planning board that previously heard this case. So I thank you for going through the conditions. Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Hearing Serena second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any nays or abstentions? Thank you. The motion passes, and that concludes our I don't want to say public hearing, but this concludes the public hearing for project 00424 1053 Broadway, Druthers. So thank you, staff, for providing us with information on this case. We have one more case on the public hearing agenda. That is project 00450. That's area variances 0097, 0098, and 0099. The property address is 276 Central Avenue. The applicant is North American Islamic Trust. We've heard this case before. I've had a public hearing on this case previously. Does staff want to run through the bones of the application so that we're familiar with it?
As you said, this has come before the board before. We do not have the applicant on the call right now. The three variances being requested right now. The first has to do with building materials. So this is going to be an alteration to the facade of the building, and the USDO states that the original materials shall be retained, maintained, repaired, or uncovered where possible and to the maximum extent feasible, and that new buildings and alterations shall be composed of materials that complement adjacent facades and are compatible with the quality and appearance of traditional materials. The second would be for fenestration. So original window and door arrangements shall be preserved to the maximum extent practicable. Window replacements shall match to the greatest extent practicable existing window size, style, and configuration. Windows and doors shall not be boarded up or otherwise visibly blocked. The third is for roof shape. So original roof forms, profiles, and cornices shall be maintained to the maximum extent practicable. Do you want to run through the 5 criteria again, or?
No, I think right now our main interests are if there have been any changes to this application since last time the applicant supplemented the record, provided the answers to our question at the prior public hearing.
There have been no changes to the application. There have been some new developments, and that being that the Albany County Planning Board issued a favorable recommendation at their meeting on February 17th, and the City Planning Board approved the demolition review at their meeting on February 22nd, contingent upon the granting of the 3 variances being heard tonight.
Is there any Historic Resources Council element to this case? Is it within the historic district where they also need the approval as well?
It is not in a historic district.
And maybe staff can fill me in. We're our lead agency on this particular project, are we not?
Yes.
Okay. So everything is appropriate for us to take action. And we have not we do not have any outstanding issues or questions with the applicant. I think they've supplemented everything we asked for in the application. We don't have the applicant here tonight. Do we have any folks that would like to provide public comment for this case?
We didn't have anyone signed up, if anybody would like to speak, please raise your hand. Although it doesn't look like we have anybody. Yep, so I'm seeing nobody.
Okay. Seeing that we believe we have a complete application and this is right for our decision-making process, do we have any wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion to grant area variance 375, granting area variance to allow for the existing building materials to be changed and replaced.
Do we have a second? I believe that's area variance number 97. Do we have a second for the motion for area variance number 97?
I'll second it.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Do we have all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any noes or abstains? Motion carries. Do we have any wishes of the board relating to area variance number 98?
I'll make a motion to grant the area variance to allow for the existing window and door arrangements to be changed and replaced.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Do we have any noes or abstains? Motion carries. Do we have any wishes of the board when for area variance number 99?
I'll make a motion to grant the area variance to allow for the existing roof form to be changed and replaced.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Jeff. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any noes or abstains? We do not, so that motion carries. We have one more case on the agenda, I believe, that is for area variance number 96, Henry Johnson Boulevard, but there may be a reason why we need to delay a decision on this. So I'll turn it over to staff.
Yeah, we are going to have to refer it over to the county. So we had to pull it from tonight's agenda. So there's a development plan review aspect to this as well, and we've had a little bit of shuffling. So we're going to have to refer it over to the county before any action can be taken.
Okay. Well, I thank you for informing us about this. I want to thank staff, council, and everyone involved in helping us stay educated on these cases. Look forward to seeing some more details from the Mater Christi case the next time we meet. With that, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing for the Board of Zoning Appeals for Wednesday, March 16th, 2022.
I'll make such a motion.
Adriana makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I don't know why anybody would abstain from closing a meeting, but it doesn't sound like, does anybody want to abstain from closing a meeting? No. All right. The motion carries. We are gavelled out. So that's a question for council someday. What if people don't want to end the hearing? Well, thank you very much. We will notice our next meeting on the website. Any other business board members want to bring up? I will mention that CDRPC, and a shameless plug, will have a planning and zoning workshop series where members of City of Albany and other municipalities as well can obtain their necessary credits for planning and zoning credits for being educated on emerging issues related to planning and development. So thank you for your time. I appreciate all of you, and I hope to see you down the road. Thank you very much.
All right, good night.
Bye, everybody.